Welcome back to Movie Being News. In this episode, we will give you guys the movie news that you need for the upcoming month in July, August, and September. It's going to be a big one, so let's get right into it.
Let's do it. Jump straight into it.
Beans? Beings.
Well, before we get into the upcoming movies, of course, we want to talk about how the current movies are doing.
It's good to go over what we already talked about in our last news episode.
Yeah, absolutely. The first segment of this episode, I want to call it, is all about the shmoney.
The shmoney.
Well, I mean, that's what they want to make movies for, right? They don't want just for artistic
value.
outcome.
Yeah. You don't think they appreciate the art?
I think they appreciate the art on the piece of paper more.
The numbers in the bank.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Tim, you want to start us off?
So Inside Out 2 is literally over $1 billion already.
That's crazy.
We were checking it before. It's like 3.5 weeks at this point of filming.
That's crazy.
Which is insane considering like second on the list after it is Dune with 700 million. Oh, 700 million. That's right. I don't know why I was like, is it $1 billion? But yeah, that's like, and that was highly anticipated as well.
Yeah.
I thought that might have reached $1 billion, but it's kind of crazy.
Well, to be fair, like if you combine Dune Part 1 and Part 2, then it would surpass Inside Out 2, right?
I mean, like Inside Out, this is 2. So if you got Inside Out and as well, I'm sure it would have eclipsed both of them. But
yeah, that's crazy.
It's not the movie I thought would have been the biggest movie so far.
Okay, interesting.
And I don't think it's going to get beaten. Like it's not even a month at this point.
Yeah.
And it's already over $1 billion.
Yeah. And I think the only movie that might have a chance to beat Inside Out might be Deadpool.
Yeah,
right.
I agree, but I don't know. Like I think we'll get to $1 billion, but like I think it's like school holidays here and maybe even overseas. So it's like a family film that's good. It's probably going to have like a better hit rate than an R-rated movie.
Interesting.
That's the only thing I think would hold back Deadpool, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a rated R movie, so obviously you can't take your kids to watch people get stabbed.
You could, but I'm like,
you're going to traumatize their children.
Depends how much you like your kids, right?
Or you're going to learn early.
You're going to learn early.
The next one, well, this is the movie that you thought would do really well this year, the Godzilla and Kong. Like the two big monsters.
I just thought just a fun action movie, which I'm still even surprised it's third, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Like I haven't seen the movie, so I can't rate, can't say how good it is, but I thought it might have pulled in a bit more, but it's still, I don't know what the box office or not the budget was for it, but I'm sure they're happy.
Yeah, they're very happy. And I just hope that they don't make another one.
They will. Like if this, I think this definitely made money. I'm sure there's going to be more.
Okay, fair enough. Kung Fu Panda 4, this is like the story of keep making the movie that makes you money.
I think that's nearly every movie now, nearly Darren.
Yeah.
It's just like if it's making money.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was going to be a 4 until I remember seeing like a trailer for it. And I was like, oh.
And this is something that we spoke about as well, like the studios, they keep turning the movies into series.
Yeah.
Right? Because the movies make money.
Even though, when was the first Kung Fu Panda? I think I even remember. Was that in when I was in even high school? So that's like...
Long time ago now.
So that's crazy that it's like still going.
Yeah, so look out for Kung Fu Panda 5,
Which is funny because if we look at like a lot of other movies on this list, there's not many films that are like an original.
Yeah,
like
interesting.
Even the Garfield movie.
Yeah, it's based on like the comic and...
I don't know if there was a movie before this or if this is its own thing, but I definitely know there's other Garfield movies. So it's not like If and maybe The Fall Guy.
Yeah,
are the only things like
quite original
that are like in the top that are like maybe an original idea. There's a few other ones down there, but that's when we're like... But the money's dropped off quite a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no money in new ideas, sadly.
Yeah.
Or even in movies we enjoy. Like we talked about Furiosa in our last episode or not too long ago. Yeah. And it's not even in the top 10. And out of the movies I've seen on this list, it's probably like, after Dune, that's probably my favorite movie.
Yeah. And that's interesting because right after Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, it seems like the box office performances really drop off. Even though those movies might be still considered successful, but like apparently people, they really want to spend their money into something that they can enjoy with a family. Like Inside Out, it's like... That's
what it shows, really, like looking at it. And because then it's like Dune is just like a huge thing now. It's kind of crazy that it's like... I'm surprised it did so well, to be honest. They're good, they're great movies. I've seen both of them, they're amazing. But it's just like, kind of when I was talking about Oppenheimer last time, it's like a movie you're like, this is great. I wouldn't think it'd like translate that well to the box office, which I like because it's like that's how I would have liked Furiosa to go.
Yeah,
but that's what I mean. I think it's just like hype has to be that big for it to like do so well, because I don't remember there being any hype for Inside Out 2. Like I didn't really hear much about it or anything.
Yeah.
But once I know the reviews were good for it, and I'm like, oh, it's a good movie, and I'm like, oh, good kids movie, it's gone. And I feel like that's how it works sometimes.
Oh, man. They are going to make Inside Out 3, aren't they?
Well, they are. Like, I haven't watched any of them, so I can't really say on, like, how well they're made or how good they are. But, you know, there's success there. So
they have to make another one.
Especially over $1 billion, you're guaranteed to have another one.
My goodness me. So these are some of the movies that are performing quite well. Theoretically in 2024.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, even some that are probably in the top 10 would still probably, like, maybe wouldn't even say they're doing, like, well. Because that's like, I've never watched many. I don't think I have watched any of, like, the bad boy films.
Yeah.
But that's probably done well enough, like, considering. But
I really don't want them to make another one of the Bad Boys.
Surprised. Like, I heard that it was all right, but that's what I mean. I was like, oh, I'm surprised they made more.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Will Smith is still money maker for the Hollywood studios.
Probably not as much now after his incident.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I was thinking. For him, it was probably like, oh, let me go back to something that I'm, like, well known for, or even has a lot of, like, bit of nostalgia and a bit of, like, credit behind it. It's like, I enjoyed Bad Boys in the 90s or 90s, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, easy movie.
He was still fit by then.
Well, I'm sure he's still fit now, but I mean, like, it's just an easy film for people. But I remember all the old Bad Boys. Let's see if Will Smith can still remember how to pull it off. And what was he? Is it Martin? Is it
Martin Lawrence?
Martin Lawrence. I still think he's a bit funny. He's quite funny, but
yeah. Well, it will be interesting to see. Well, that is a good segue for us to move on into the upcoming movies. By the time of this episode, some of these movies in July have already hit theaters.
Yeah.
And we will cover, like, how well they are doing in the next episode. So by the time of the release of this episode, some of these movies have already hit theaters, like Despicable Me 4, another sequel to the most successful animation before. And this time, our main character has a kid, and the kid wants to traumatize the family, and he has a new nemesis. That's it.
Oh my God. It's just like carrying on in a family, right? They're the next villain or whatever.
Yeah.
But I only knew about this movie because I was watching the NBA Finals, and Nikola Jokic, everyone says he looks like Gru.
Yeah,
so he was doing ads for it, which I thought were pretty funny.
Yes.
But I don't know how well this will do.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably do all right, but with Inside Out doing so well, I think that's going to hurt it a bit, maybe.
I don't think so. I think, like, the two fan bases are quite different.
You mean young children? You think they're going to be that?
Well, even adults now, because of those minions. Like, people like the minions. They dress up as them for Halloween. They wear costumes. They have all the merchandises in the office. I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to do well. Another movie that will have hit theater is another continuation of Beverly Hills Cops, starring Eddie Murphy.
I think it's on Netflix as well. I don't know.
It's on Netflix.
I don't know if it's going to theaters or not. I'm sure it's a Netflix film.
I watched the trailer, Tim. I don't think it will ever hit theaters.
There's a reason why it's on Netflix. Because I think I remember seeing it. Was it last night or the night before? Them advertising, and I'm like, ugh. I don't even know if I've watched the old ones either. So I might even have to watch the old ones to be like, is it worth even watching the new one?
I watched one or two of the old ones, and I think they're really good.
Yeah.
But after watching the trailer for the new one, I was like, I think they're trying to milk it now. So I will not watch it. Another movie that has already hit theaters as well, that is Maxine. So this is the conclusion of the trilogy, the horror trilogy. The story follows a porn star in the 1980s, and she encountered a stalker / murderer.
Oh, God.
So the first movie did really well. The first movie was X on a budget of $1 million. It grossed $15 million worldwide. The second movie is Pearl. Also on a budget of $1 million, it grossed $10 million worldwide. So, the expectation is really high for this one.
Well, which is kind of crazy. Like you said, not much money into it, and did well enough, right?
Well, I mean, it seems to be the recipe of success, because when you have a limitation on the budget, you need to really be smart with money. You need to pay more attention to the things that matters, like the script, the acting, the characters, and things like that.
Well, you'd hope they do.
You hope so. I mean, but it shows again and again with the small budget movies, they seem to do a lot better.
It's just like small input, like you hope for a larger output. It's just like a smaller bet, right?
But it's not enough. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing as well.
$10 million. What's this?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like $10 million is like, for us, it seems great, right?
Yeah.
And even probably for the people making the film, they're probably like, oh shit, we're probably going to keep having a job because it's like making money, right? Where you compare to like films like Furiosa is probably a great example, where it's like huge budget but has not made any money and mightn't make money.
No, I don't think so. It's like up until now, it's still not making the money back.
Would you rather be like invest $200 million into a movie, or it's like, oh, give a small studio like $5 to $10 million maybe they'll make, 20 to 50, and it's like, we've pretty much made our money.
Yeah. The next movie that we are quite excited to see in very limited theaters is Kind of Kindness.
Yes.
The collaboration between Mr. Greek Yogurt, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Emma Stone.
Emma Stone again.
Yeah, well, I really don't understand why they only released this movie in a small amount of theaters.
I think it's, like we talked about, it's still like a bit more of a niche audience. I still think it's more of like, I say film critic, but like more of a film buff. They're like more likely going to watch this than say a normal viewer, like a person. I don't know how many people saw Poor Things. We thought it was both amazing. It might eventually get its own episode or something, but it was very good.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that translates to like a larger audience, right? I'd like to think so, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, it'd be nice to see this at like my local theater, but it's like, we'll probably have to find like a small theater to see it at rather than a major theater, which is a bit sad, but.
Yeah,
I think it'd be probably worth the effort. I think it'd probably still be a good movie.
But maybe that was their intention in the first place. They know that this movie might not appeal to the large audience, so they would just be like, we don't want to spend too much money on the marketing.
Yeah.
Well, Willem Dafoe is also in this movie. So hopefully
Always
he will
good.
play another psychopath.
He was great in the other one as well.
Yeah. I don't think Willem Dafoe has ever been in a bad movie, or if he has ever been in a bad movie, he was not a bad character.
Yeah, I've seen tons of interviews of him like talking about like bad movies he's been in, and he always like talks, he like raves about it or even like takes something away. He's not a very negative person. He's always like, oh, people didn't enjoy it, but I thought the role was fun and I enjoyed like doing acting in it, which I'm like, oh, he's got like a great aspect. He's got a great way of looking at things where most people would be like, even like Ryan Reynolds, when we talk about, the old Green Lantern, he'll come out, or even him playing Deadpool in the old Wolverine movies, he'll be like, yeah, they'll bat. And he will, like, which is fair. Like, I don't think that's the wrong way, but it's always interesting to see how actors perceive their performances and how they take away from it. Yeah. Which is always kind of interesting to see, right?
Yeah, and I think so. I mean, like, if you are in the production process and you play a certain characters in the movies, of course you would never say bad things about the process because you have been there. You have spent like months of your life on the project. But quick synopsis of Kind of Kindness. A man seeks to break free from his predetermined path. A cop questions his wife's demeanor after her return from a supposed drowning, and a woman searches for an extraordinary individual to become a renowned spiritual guide.
Oh, wow.
Makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, because I've watched like we're talking about before, and Lobster.
Okay. Yeah.
They're the only two of his films I've watched. And it does seem like he kind of bases his kind of like story or some of it like on relationships. That's the vibe I got from these two films that I've watched of his. So I'm interested to see what kind of relationship he deals with in the next film.
Okay.
Because that's what I feel like he either does best or likes focusing on. Have you ever watched Lobster before?
No, I haven't seen Lobsters, but I know of the movie.
Do you know the basic synopsis of it?
Oh, no, I don't.
So it's essentially in a world where everyone has to be in a partnership, or they get sent to this foundation organization that they try to get them partnered up with someone, and if they can't, they get turned into an animal.
Oh, okay.
And the main character chooses to get turned into a lobster if he can't find a couple.
Okay. So
that's like the premise.
Okay.
It is like a strange, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but like if you watch it, you can kind of understand like how, because even from that into like Poor Things, you can see how he like portrays relationships in different ways and how he like looks at it from maybe how we perceive it as like a society and how weird it is. Lobster does a really good job of that, kind of like how you perceive yourself with somebody or without somebody.
That's interesting, yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. But anyway, I won't go to it. But
yeah,
that's what I was like. I wonder how that goes.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe in the future we can do the director series with Yorgos.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, he seems to have quite a few interesting movies. Moving on, the next movie that we truly look forward to on July 12th. It seems like a very good day for movie release. There are 4 movies scheduled to release on this day.
Who's going to win?
I'm pretty sure this movie is going to win. Long Legs.
Long Legs, yeah.
Starring Nicolas Cage. So this movie is about an FBI agent, Lee Harker. She was assigned to an unsolved case involving a satanic serial killer known as Long Legs. Well,
Sounds great.
we have a very well-known spider in Australia called Daddy Longlegs.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure how.
I don't know if it's the same reference or whatever it is. That's what I was when I initially saw the title. I'm like, Longlegs? Is it going to be about Daddy Longlegs, like a giant spider?
But I'm very excited to see Nicolas Cage back into the silver screen. He's a great actor, and I think he's kind of having a small resurrection of his career.
I think he has had a resurrection. I think it's been the last like maybe 10 years that he's kind of recaptured the audience again, and even like his own love of like doing films, and maybe not just doing shit films because he needs the money because he's broke. Yeah. That's just sad. But I watched his some of his interviews. It seems like he's a very honest guy. Like he was not shy about his debt problem. And when he spoke to people asking him about the movies, he's really smart. His answer is really thought out. So I definitely think that this movie will do well. And he generally buys in. Like he'll then generally try to give it his all in the film. Like whether depending, like you don't know what the performance is going to be like, but he's always going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the last film I watched, but he's a guy that is in everyone's dreams.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. So it's like everyone's dreaming about him.
Yeah.
And it's so strange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nicolas Cage is not a stranger to strange films.
Like, I wouldn't say it's his strangest film. Like, he's done a lot of weird films. But I was just like, that's probably the last one I remember that's like, I thought was an interesting film and he was good in.
Fair enough. And another movie that is scheduled to release on July 12th is Fly Me to the Moon. It's a rom-com starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, a very interesting pairing.
That's what I was saying. I'm not a fan of Channing Tatum at all.
I don't think he's a strong actor, to be honest. He does have some strong moments in some successful movies like Magic Mike, but
21 Jump Street and stuff like that. But I think that's more like charming and like a bit more of a goofball. That's why I'm like, I don't know what I haven't seen any trailers for this. I remember seeing like some of the head titles and I was like, oh, I don't know. Like that was the thing. I was like, I don't know how these two would go together, to be honest.
In one of the rom-coms that I have seen him with Rachel McAdams, I think in that movie he was trying to win his wife who has amnesia so she lost her memories of him. So I think in that movie his acting was quite good. Yeah, but in other movies it seems like his acting is very similar. He's acting like a goofball and etc. So the synopsis for Fly Me to the Moon is a marketing agent, Kelly Jones, played by Scarlett Johansson, clashes with NASA, Cole Davis, played by Channing Tatum, during the Apollo 11 mission when ordered to fake a moon landing as backup. The tensions arise.
It sounds like a terrible like baseline for a movie. I don't know why.
Well, you never know. Like, you never thought that Oppenheimer would do well, and it would do well, and
I don't think it's the same thing. I thought Oppenheimer would be a good film. I don't know if this is going to be a good film.
But let's see. And then we have the two other movies. But July 18th, there is a movie called My Spy: The Eternal City, starring Dave Bautista.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've heard of it or even really looked into it too much.
So the synopsis is it follows a girl, Sophie, as she convinces JJ, played by Dave Bautista, to chaperone her school trip to a different city when they end up as pawns in an international terrorist plot.
Oh my God.
Now, I included this movie in the list because I think this is a good representation of Dave Bautista copying The Rock's journey.
You reckon?
I think Dave Bautista has unpredictable success from the Guardian of the Galaxy franchise. I think he was cast in that movie to be a side character, but then it became a success. So he's got that. When The Rock started out, he was in some action movies first, but then those movies were not successful. So he changed his image. He became a more family-friendly kind of actor. He was in the Tooth Fairy. He was in The Chaperone, etc. So he played
a lot of other little like Disney movies as well.
Correct. So he did like a few movies with Disney. Now this movie is supposed to be an action movie, but of course the main character is a teenage girl. I don't think it's going to have a lot of blood and killing in that. So
have you watched Kick-Ass?
I'm
not saying it's going to be, but I mean, if you're thinking of like one of the main characters as being like a teenage girl where they brutally murder people.
Yeah, funny that Nicolas Cage is in that as well.
Well, there you go.
Big Daddy. So this movie was included just because I think Dave Bautista is trying to break out of the Guardian of the Galaxy mold, out of Drax's style. But hopefully he will have more chance to show off his acting chops.
Yeah, he has done some other things. Like he did the M. Night Shyamalan movie, not The Village.
The people in the woods.
The cabin, the cabin.
Yeah.
And then like he was in Blade Runner, but that was a little while ago, and that was only like the first 5-10 minutes, but I thought he was good in that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think, he was in that Zack Snyder film, the zombie one or whatever.
Yeah, and that was not well received.
Yeah, so
but that's the thing. Like, it's interesting to see him as a leading role, right? Because like, it
is he
seems
going
like
to be
the
strong
success.
enough?
Yeah,
because I think he was pretty much the leading role in the Zack Snyder film.
Yeah,
but that's what I mean. Like, it might be. Can he carry a film?
Yeah,
because I don't think The Rock can.
Ah, okay.
But that's what I mean. But that's like if it's more of like a straightforward film, a bit more based on like action.
Yeah,
because he's a huge dude. And like, you know, it's wrestling, right? They come from wrestling.
Yeah.
So it's like they're all the physical actings there, right?
Fair enough.
So that's why it's like it makes sense to go into like more of an action role, right? But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like,
we'll see.
Probably not a movie I'm going to watch.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so either. And on the same day, there is sequel to the 1996 movie Twister.
Oh my god! Oh yeah.
And how do you know this is a sequel? It's Twisters.
It's got an S.
Plural instead of Twister 2.
They found another Twister and we thought we can do a movie now.
It's funny that you mentioned that because in the trailer there's a scene where they were talking about the two Twisters combining.
We got twins! Twins!
Yeah, I saw that. When I think it might have been when I went to see The Planet of the Apes and I saw this trailer and I'm like, oh god.
Well, it's starring Glenn Powell. It seems like he's getting a bit more
he's been in
fame
a few,
now,
he's been in a few movies. He was in that with that like love movie with Sweeney. What's her name?
Anyone But You. So that
and
one.
Then there
that
was
one
another Netflix movie I think he was in.
Yeah,
like he was like the murderer. I'm not a murderer. Hitman or
Hitman.
Yeah. So I'm like, he's found a bit. He's got a bit of popularity at the moment, or at least been in a couple of films at the moment.
Did you know that he was in Dark Knight Rises?
Oh.
Batman Dark Knight Rises. He was one of the stockbrokers that Bane threw his head onto the computer.
You people here.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The biggest role yet.
But this movie might not be interesting to you, Tim.
No. Like I said, when I saw the trailer, and then it like crashes into like an electric plant or something and like lights on fire and they're like, no, it's on fire. And I'm like, oh my God.
Of course, he plays like this badass driver who want to test out a new equipment on the tornado.
Like, he seems like charming and like stuff like that, but I'm like, it doesn't seem like a movie I would be that interested in.
Yeah. Wasn't he in Top Gun with Tom Cruise as well?
Yeah.
Probably that's why he got cast in the other movies. Just looks good and got good body.
I mean, he wouldn't have got in other movies, but you never know. Like, I don't think he's like a big name or anything.
Not yet. But what do you think about his acting in the movies that you have seen of him?
I don't remember any of it because that's what I mean. I haven't watched any of those recent movies.
Yeah. And to cap off the month, this might be the most anticipated movie of the year. Deadpool and Wolverine, 127 minutes of rated R action and comedy.
Was that a synopsis? Is that what they said?
No, this is this was the description under the movie, but the synopsis is Wolverine is recovering from his injuries when he crossed paths with the loudmouth merc Deadpool. They team up to defeat a common enemy.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it sounds like a very straightforward storyline.
Yeah, probably won't be that complicated.
Have you been following Ryan Reynolds' marketing strategy for this movie?
Like a bit here and there, but not like super closely.
I must say, Ryan Reynolds might be one of the best marketing agencies to date. When the announcement of this movie even came out, he did a sketch with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I remember that
on his YouTube channel. And then since then, they have been doing interviews together. They have been doing like weird sketches to advertise the movie. And I think this is the best way to advertise because they don't advertise the movie per se, but they just having fun and things
advertising
like that.
Themselves.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, this is what you're going to get. Because he does a lot on his own YouTube as well. Like it's not like through, I don't know they're not Warner Brothers. What would it be like?
Yeah.
Marvel or Disney or whatever it's through, but it's through his own thing, right? It's not through a conglomerate or whatever. It's him like showing it off himself most of the time, right?
Correct.
Which seems a bit more personal, right? It's like, I'm not seeing a Ryan Reynolds movie more than like a Marvel movie.
Yeah. And if you see some of his YouTube videos, you realize that quite a few of them are advertisements for the products that he either co-founded or invested in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. How do you think this movie will perform comparing to Inside Out 2?
Well, initially I thought it might have been the only one that gets $1 billion, but I don't know now. It'll be interesting to see if it beats Dune. I think it'll be close because I think the only thing holding it back is like the R rating. Because just like Inside Out, everyone's going to see it or can see it, right? Where Deadpool, limited audience, but I still think it'll do well.
Okay. And we spoke about this before, but I think there's a bit of pressure riding on this movie because from what I read, the MCU is not doing so well.
No, and even this is like, I would even say this is like loosely connected. Like he is like working with Marvel now, but it's still like, I still think it's like separate. I think it's like its own thing more than like showing what else Marvel can do. This is more like, it's Ryan Reynolds' movie, right?
Yeah. It's
not Marvel's. He's just like, he's kind of in league with them so he can like use Wolverine and do all the like callbacks and like call outs and stuff.
Yeah.
So he can use more of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think this will be an image of what else Marvel will do, but
yeah,
I get what you mean though. Like they'll probably say like, oh, look what we did. And it's like, no, it's not really their thing. Because that was the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like that was like the best thing recently.
Yeah.
And I would say that's more of a James Gunn thing than a Marvel thing. That's why I was excited when he took over for DC because I was like, oh, I like James Gunn's movies, so I'm more hopeful than I was when Zack Snyder was in charge.
Did you know about the little bit of scandal of the Superman's costume?
Do we want to get into it? I've seen it, but I'm like, people are so stupid, aren't they?
Yeah.
He looks like Superman. Wow. How terrible. He looks like Superman.
Definitely, this is something that we should discuss in a different episode. But
or maybe at the end, we'll see how we go.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
It is news, right?
It's in news. Yeah,
we can come back around to it.
That is just
I know,
it's just
ridiculous.
the internet doing its thing.
Yeah.
And now we move on to the month of August. This month, it doesn't have a lot of movies. It seems like this might be a slow month for the year, but there are some interesting movies that might be coming out. It seems like there are quite a few kids movies, animations, and things like that.
And then horror.
and then horrors. Yeah, such a good combination. Yeah, watch the cartoon. And by the way, go watch a horror. The first one is Harold and the Purple Crayon, starring Zachary Levi.
Okay.
So he's trying to resurrect his career from Shazam
From Shazam. I like that. I don't know if that's too much on him, but is it an animated film? Or
it's adventure cartoon. So it's a live action animation. It's based on the book with the same name. Okay. So the story is inside the book, Harold can make anything come to life using his crayon, his purple crayon.
Oh.
And then
I swear that's a video game.
and one day he drew the door to the real world.
I see what you mean.
And then he enters the real world, and then adventure ensues.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so interesting to see. Another animation cartoon adaptation is Saving Bikini Bottom, a Sandy Chicks movie based on SpongeBob SquarePants.
It'll be interesting to see if that does well, but it's like Despicable Me will still be out, I assume, and then even Inside Out. So I think it's going to have a rough time as well.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with the established franchises. And I think SpongeBob SquarePants is one of those things that you enjoy on your own, but I'm not sure how the big movie is going to do.
I can't remember. I remember the first film they released, but I can't remember how well it did, but... I'm sure it'd still do well enough. Like, I'm sure it didn't have like a huge budget or anything. I'm sure they're just like, let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
SpongeBob's still popular, right?
Hey, I might be one of those people who's not a fan of SpongeBob, but can you tell me a bit more about this character? Why is it so popular?
I'd say it's literally like when I grew up, that's when he like started. But he's just like he's just the goofball, right? And they're just getting wacky adventures. He's got his friend Patrick, this starfish. And he's just like stupid and doesn't know anything and always gets him into trouble. But I don't know how to explain it. It is like fun. I remember enjoying it when I was young.
Yeah.
And I can't remember last time I would have watched SpongeBob, but I do think he was fun. Like, I don't know how it is now, but I think you'd find it funny, Darren.
Well, I watched some episodes of Adventure Time as well. With
it's kind of like on that line.
Okay, similar. So
he is a cook as well, Darren.
Oh,
so,
okay.
He does flip burgers for a living.
Yeah. Okay. I might be on the lookout for it. The next movie coming out on August 9th is Trap. directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh no! I think I literally saw the trailer today before I came here.
What do you think?
I don't know if I've said this already before, but I've lost so much hope in M. Night Shyamalan. Split was like the last good movie he did.
Yeah.
Everything after that's been absolutely terrible.
Split, and there's another good movie. He did The Sixth Sense, didn't he?
Yeah, but Split's like the last one I remember. That might have been, I want to say like 13, 14, maybe a bit later. But like, what was it? Was that the last one? Because that's what I think. There's a village. I think that's like it gets mixed. It's always like has to have that like it has to have the bloody
Twist.
the twist in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just every time you watch his movie, I'm like, where's the twist? And it's just like I feel like he needs to get away from it.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have that.
Just try to make a good movie first, right?
Because I've like watched. I don't know. Because I've watched Old. I don't know if you watched that. That was stupid as hell. Because there was another one, The Watchers, that came out that I think it was his daughter directed. I haven't watched that yet. I haven't heard that it's like. I heard it's silly as well. So I'm like, I might have to watch it. Just drink one day and see how stupid it is. But that's why I'm like, because I saw Trapped and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I haven't much faith in him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because they still like advertise these films like M. Night Shyamalan film, and I'm like,
Is that?
have you watched any of his latest films? Like,
Well, I mean, apparently his name still has some kind of pull to the cinema, right?
That's what I think. I'm like, I don't know how it's still got pull. Like he hasn't done anything that great. Because that's like you said, Sixth Sense is really great. I love. Is it Circles? No, the alien one. Why have I forgotten the name of it?
Prometheus?
No, that's Ridley Scott. That's Aliens.
Yeah,
no, I can't remember the name of it. But that's a great movie as well. It's a similar thing. It's about aliens and crop circles and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I wish I.
No, that's
I wish
okay.
I had my.
I'm
computer
pretty
in front
sure
of me.
it'll come back to you.
But
yeah.
like his early work was very good until like I don't know if it was The Happening. I don't know if you remember that. That's another Mark Wahlberg fantastic film.
Yeah.
And I think I've never watched it. It's probably another good movie to watch getting drunk as well, but that's ridiculous as well. But
yeah.
I feel like after that film, he has just been bad. That's like I said, because when I saw Split, I'm like, oh, what the hell? He's back? Because that had Anya Taylor-Joy in it as well.
Yeah.
And
James McAvoy.
Yeah, that's a great film. And then, because he released Glass, like it's meant to be like the Unbreakable kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I heard that was bad. I'm like, I'm not watching it. I don't want to. I thought Split was amazing. I just want to live in that.
Yeah, that's fair. We Trap is starring Josh Hartnett, and the synopsis is very simple. A father and his teen daughter attend a pop concert, only to realize that they enter a center of a dark and sinister event. Well, spoiler, the father is a serial killer.
Yeah, I know. That's like...
They show the twist
I know.
in the trailer.
So there's going to be another twist or something, right? Because it's like it's... I don't know. I was already not like... I remember watching the trailer and being like...
yeah.
What is this? I'd like to be surprised, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
The track record has not been good.
So on a more upbeat note, there is a romantic movie starring Blake Lively, and it deals with domestic violence.
Oh, God. Very uplifting.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see Blake Lively back into acting. So this movie is, it's all about the traumatic childhood, and the main character meets up with a neurosurgeon. And this relationship reminds her of her parents' past relationship.
Dealing with that or something and seeing how that works out. Could be interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Does Ryan Reynolds show up?
I'm pretty sure Ryan Reynolds might have some uncomfort watching this movie, because the co-star, Justin Baldoni, is also the director of this movie. And there are a lot of shirtless scenes that I can see from the trailers.
Well, they're all professionals, right?
I hope so. And another movie coming out in around the same time is the adaptation of a very popular video game, Borderlands.
Oh, God.
You don't like this?
I don't know. Like,
Did you know of the video game?
Yeah. But it's just like, I don't know how we'll translate. It's like Borderlands comes across more of like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of feel. Like it's like a group of people, all like goofballs, going around killing things. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates.
Yeah. And they got Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I don't know if she's the main character, but it's like such a strange casting, but I don't have much hope for it, to be honest. Like
Kevin Hart is in it as well.
Like, but I don't know. Like Who knows?
I watched the trailer. It's literally seems like them having a comedic episode for their own show. Like Kevin Hart is playing himself. They got poor Jamie Lee Curtis in this as well.
That's what I remember because I saw that as well. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. The casting is so strange.
Well, it's supposed to be a strange mix of people.
Yeah, so it might work out. You never know, but I don't have much hopes for that movie either.
And well, they might be able to capitalize on the success of the video game because the video game has sold 77 million copies.
No, it's very successful, but I don't think that translates into a good film.
Yeah.
Like I saw the Super Mario movie and I didn't think that was that good and it did really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was more of a kid's movie though. And that's what it's like aimed at.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, I don't even know of any other good video game movies. So it's like, I don't have much hope.
Speaking of video game, the video games movies, Alien Romulus is scheduled to release on August 16th.
Oh, I want it to be good, but I know it won't be.
I watched the trailer too. It is exactly the same story as the first Alien.
Well, there you go.
Like the tagline is the same.
Maybe people have forgotten.
Like forgotten how good the past movie was.
Or no, more that like maybe they forgot the old movie and they just redo it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. If it's like nearly as good as the original Alien movie, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, they use the exact same tagline. In space, nobody can hear you scream. Like they literally ran out of ideas. They use the same story, but just different characters.
Who's directing? I doubt Ridley Scott might just be producing.
It's directed by Fede Alvarez.
I don't think I've heard of that name.
No. Yeah, so literally the same story. Then we will reunite with Channing Tatum on August 23rd in Blink Twice. Now, this is a movie directed and co-written by Zoe Kravitz. And this is a thriller and horror.
It sounds like I'm blinking twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to blink a lot when you watch this movie, apparently. So the synopsis is when a tech billionaire, Slater King, like obviously when you hear the name, you know he's a bad guy, meets the cocktail waitress, Frida, and he invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island.
Classic.
Classic slasher psychopath movie. You own an island.
Rich man. Hey, come to this secluded area where nothing bad will happen to you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure this will be fine.
And I think it has some sort of resemblance of Silence of the Lamb. Like someone who is very successful, has good social status, but then he's just a psychopath.
I feel like I do that a lot in films.
Yeah. Now, the upcoming movie is one that I really, really hope to do well. The reincarnation of 1994 action fantasy, The Crow.
The Crow? I've never watched the original. Yeah. And I am interested in this film. Like, I know like the vagueness or like I know kind of like what the story's meant to be about and stuff. Yeah. And it is kind of like an interesting like look at like a hero. Yes. Because it is based off like a comic book, right? Yeah. And it's a very like dark comic book.
I'm gonna kill them. Every single one of them.
So it'll be interesting to see how that translates.
Yeah.
Because I can see it being a very hit and miss movie, like being like, it could be very good or it's terrible.
Yeah. The first movie grossed $94 million in 1994.
Which seems good.
Yes, it's a very
especially
good,
for like would be a very unique film. Like it's not like it's not like a Superman or a Batman or a Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely not a feel-good superhero movie.
Not at all.
But in the remake, Bill Skarsgård, who is famous for our It movie, the Pennywise clown, he's going to play the titular character, the Crow. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. And then to cap off the month, we have two movies. The first one is 1992, starring Tyrese Gibson. So the synopsis of this movie is very simple. A shopkeeper trying to save his son from an angry mob during the 1992 LA uprising.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah, so this will be interesting to see Tyrese breaking out of his Fast and Furious mode.
I wonder if it'll be like more of a documentary kind of feel on it, or is it based on a true story?
Yeah, it's based on a true story. This is like a thriller action. Tyrese Gibson grew a bushy beard for this movie.
He grew a beard. True acting.
And I think he plays a very similar character to John Wick in a way, but he doesn't have the training.
Someone's going to kill his dog.
But this time, someone kidnapped his son.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe more of a Taken.
Yeah, more of a Taken, but he's a bit younger than Liam Neeson. So maybe he can
even
jump
when
over
he
fences.
initially did Taken?
A bit younger. Yeah,
I was going to say, he was even old in the original Taken.
No, that's fair. At least he was still he was still able to do some action scenes. But
And in the first one, yes.
in the first one,
You still remember that video clip of him trying to climb the fence. Poor Liam Neeson.
Yeah, watch that episode right over here. Then the final movie of the month is Regan, drama based on the life of Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
With,
Reagan? Is it Reagan or Regan?
Ronald,
is it Ronald Reagan?
Yeah, Arnold Reagan? Is that how you say his last name? I don't know.
I'm not too sure. That's the only one I know. That's why. Reagan.
Reagan.
I think it's Reagan.
Right,
is it
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan? I think
Ronald Reagan.
President?
Okay.
Ex-president? No.
The ex-president.
Yeah.
Starring Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
I haven't seen him in a movie for a long, long time.
Yeah, so it could be. He might pull off a president. I don't know the story of Reagan too well, but
Yeah.
must be something there, right?
Yeah, well, this is a drama, so there might be some twist in there.
I was just going to say, he sits in an office for an hour and a half, like signing papers.
Yeah, and hitting the nuclear buttons. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm very clueless about the American president.
Reagan, I think, was after that.
Okay.
He wasn't the one pressing the button.
Fair enough.
Watch Oppenheimer if you want to figure out who presses the button.
Okay. Fair enough. And then we get into the month of September. So September is a very small month for movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of remakes and sequels. The first sequel is Beetlejuice. Instead of Beetlejuice 2, you have Beetlejuice.
Oh, there's two, right?
And Michael Keaton came back for the role.
Which is always great.
With Winona Ryder.
Who was in the original as well.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this movie? Are you expecting?
I've only watched the original once. I thought it was a bit of fun, but I don't know. It's such a weird. I guess it kind of makes sense in the landscape of films. That it's just like, what's one we haven't done?
Yeah.
It's just like Beetlejuice.
Like, this combination is strange because it's got horror and comedy.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Like, I don't know if I don't think I've watched any of the trailers or anything. I've seen some of the posters and stuff, but I don't know. I don't have any strong feelings about it yet.
To be honest, after watching the trailer, I don't think this movie is going to do well.
You don't think so?
Yeah, because it seems like they're trying to get the same people back, but the main character is different.
I don't think there's anything too wrong about that. I think it's like doing it right. That's the hard bit. Because I think that's like the most thing that they struggle with in films, right? When they try to recapture something from the old films and try to redo it again, either with new people or even with all the old people. Because I just think, I know we've probably touched on this before, like Indiana Jones or The Matrix. They're like the standouts, I think, of a bad, like trying to recapture what the old ones did. But I always hope they do something good, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to see bad movies, right?
Well, I don't want to see Michael Keaton in a bad movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I do like him. He's a great actor.
Yeah. And you are really looking forward to this movie, The Front Room, by the Eggers brothers.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know about it till we were like looking up stuff for what's coming out. And I was like, because I like Robert Edgar's movies. And this is two of his brothers doing this movie. So I'm interested to see how this goes. Like, I am very interested to see.
Yeah. And the synopsis of the movie is it tells the story of a newly pregnant couple who are forced to take into an ailing, estranged stepmother.
She'll be a werewolf or a vampire or something.
I don't know. I watched the trailer. She might not be a monster, but she might be not right in the head. And then we reunite with Dave Bautista.
Oh, he's back. He's back already.
For another action movie.
Dropped off his teenager and then he's ready to do another movie.
And this movie is The Killer's Game.
The Killer's Game. Oh,
and
no.
I'm sure if I tell you the synopsis, you'll think that this movie is going to be crap. So he's a veteran assassin who is diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. So he authorized a kill on himself.
Oh, my God.
But then after ordering the kill, he realized that the diagnosis was wrong.
Oh, my God. I don't know. I feel like I've seen this before somewhere, but this sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
this is like John Wick, ordering the
now,
kill.
that would be funny. Imagine, like, they get all the other killers from, like, other movies. Like, imagine getting, like, John Wick or Neo. I'm trying to think of other, like, killers in other movies.
Yeah.
James Bond shows up. Who else is, like, a contracted killer?
Yeah.
Batman comes. The Joker.
Yeah. Oh, that would be funny. But
it's called The Killer's Game, right?
The Killer's Game. This movie is directed by J.J. Perry. He is a stuntman turned director. He was a stuntman in John Wick 2, Fate of the Furious, The Rundown, and Warrior, one of my favorite movies as well.
Okay. Could be interesting. It seems like, at the very least, it might have some good action in it.
Yeah.
If it's coming from, like, a, stuntman point of view or directing kind of pedigree. So he might be interesting for action. But like you said, it does sound like, how can we make a story that can have the most action, right?
That's it. And
did it had any other interesting actors or anything in there, or not really?
this movie has got quite a big cast. It's got Ben Kingsley, and Terry Crew is also in this. Like it's just a big muscular guy.
Is he going to kill him with his pecs?
No, he's a sniper in this movie.
Oh, come on. I was going to say, Batista's probably bigger than Terry Crews, isn't he? I'm like, Terry Crews is pretty...
He's pretty big, but I think Batista does have the size over. But this movie is coming out on September 13th. I guess considering the success from the stuntman turned directors like David Lynch in his other movies, I think this movie might do well in terms of box office.
You reckon? I don't know. It seems like such a weird premise. Like, I don't know. That's what I mean. I think Dave Bautista's like interesting and it might draw in some people, but I don't think it's going to be, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like, that's what's strange. It's hard to, kind of like figure out what would draw someone in to watch this film apart from, it just looks like a fun action flick.
And I think Dave Bautista now, he's still trying to find himself. He was in just the action movies with Zack Snyder's, right? But now he's like action/comedy, family.
Have you seen the trailer for it? I haven't seen anything for it.
I've seen the trailer for it, and it literally tells you the synopsis that I just told you.
But what's it trying to show you? Is it very action based, or is it kind of
very action based?
Okay, because that's what I was going to say. I'm like, that's what it seems like it'd be aiming for, right?
And he reunited with his co-star in the Guardian of the Galaxy, Mantis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she plays the head of the assassin organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who orders the kills.
I don't know. It's such a strange, because there have been films that are like we say, like John Wick and stuff, that have done well when like the story's not like, it is silly premise, but the action is just done so well that it's just like, it doesn't matter too much about the story.
Yeah.
So it could be, that's what I mean. You kind of don't know, but.
Yeah. Hopefully we will see Dave Bautista in maybe a few different roles rather than just action.
Yeah.
I think if he really wants to become an actor, he needs to consider doing some other roles.
But I think it's also hard when you get probably typecast a bit as well. I think that's always going to be hard to avoid when it's like, the scripts he's probably going to get sent as like, you're a hitman. You've got to save a child and kill a bunch of people. I feel like that's like the kind of scripts he's going to be getting.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be harder for him to get into like a role where it's like a bit more acting. And especially because he's such a big dude as well. Like that's not that he can't be in a serious role, but like it's hard for like, I don't know. It's just like a daunting thing to put like a huge dude in maybe a more simple or more calm or like, I don't know.
Like the gentle giant kind of type of role, right?
I think that's like, because there's not many of that really anyway. So it's like, it is very hard. Like I feel bad for him a bit as well because it's like, it's hard. I wouldn't blame him just to stay in action and probably make his money. Yeah. Which is fine. But,
which is The Rock's path.
Well, I think even The Rock's even like, it's like inverted to be like, I get cast as The Rock. Yeah. Because that's what I feel like. I don't want him to be just cast as it's Dave Bautista being Dave Bautista.
The next movie that's scheduled on September 13th as well is Speak No Evil. This is a remake of a 2022 Danish film with the same name, starring James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis. And the entire cast of this movie only has 8 people.
Sounds interesting. I vaguely looked into it and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting.
Yeah, James McAvoy is always a reliable actor, right? Yeah.
Sometimes the films can be a bit subpar, but he generally brings it, I feel.
Yeah, and he plays another psychopath in this movie,
which is great.
Well, you mentioned Split before.
Yeah, exactly.
On September 20th, we have A Different Man starring Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson. So for those who don't know, Adam Pearson is an actor who has a condition on his face. And in this movie, he went through a radical medical practice to alter his look so that he could become an actor played by Sebastian Stan. But it turns out he didn't get the role that he wanted. So drama ensues.
Well, yeah, it does sound like an interesting premise. It'll be, especially when it's like, I assume it's going to be like the premise of like, did you really need to go through the change to be like what you needed to be or something like that? But I do think those stories can be quite touching. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, and using an actor quite, like really built for the role. So it's like, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah. And
then we have the origin story of our beloved Transformers on September 20th as well. But this time, the movie is not directed by Michael Bay. So it will be interesting to see. But it's starring a big cast. Scarlett Johansson is back, John Hamm is back, and Chris Hemsworth.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, his
Are
voice.
there any of those in any of the other Transformer movies? I don't think so.
Because this is a whole new cast.
This is what's the word for it? Prequel, right? This is
like the origin story,
Yeah.
the prequel of the prequel.
oh my god.
So this is the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron before they became sworn enemies.
Before they were bad guys, they used to be sipping beers together and chilling out.
Yeah. Before Megatron, it used to be called D16. Yeah,
Great name.
Great names. Then we get to Wolves, starring the two buddies in Hollywood, Brad Pitt and George Clooney. The two guys play two hitmen, and they were ordered to kill the same person.
Sounds like a classic script of like, oh, now they've either got to work together or work against each other.
But Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, now that would have been funny if that was them. That'd have been interesting. I think that would have been more fun. But I haven't seen Clooney in anything for a while.
Yeah, I think he kind of stepped down from acting for a while. I think he just took on the roles of producing or just doing cameos of Batman.
Yeah, in bad movies. Like, we can't blame him. Like, it's, not everyone has to act till they die, right?
Yeah. I don't think he needs to make any more money.
Nah, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, and
Brad Pitt just probably called him up and said, hey, you want to do this film together?
Yeah,
He's
sure.
like, why not?
Watching Bullet Train, I don't think Brad Pitt has a pretty good role in that.
I wasn't a fan of that film either. I'm not a huge fan of Brad Pitt, really, but it'll be interesting to see. Like, I don't mind the idea of them being like in a stupid like action film together, but because I do think those two do have like good chemistry together.
Yeah.
Like you can see it in the films they've previously been in, but
Yeah.
I'm not like super bought into it. Maybe if it's like on streaming services at some point I might watch it, but probably not something I'll see in a cinema.
And to cap off the month, we only have the two movies, Megalopolis, starring Adam Driver as a modern city of New Rome, and he plays an architect trying to rebuild the modern New York City. Adam Driver is a good actor.
He is.
Yeah.
He is a bit hit and miss with his films because he has been in some amazing films and some other films you're like, oh. But
Like
I am
Star
interested
Wars.
because, I was thinking about him fighting dinosaurs. But yeah, it'd be interesting because I've only seen, I think I saw the initial launch trailer for this.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be involving like time travel or some kind of dilation at some point. So it's like, seems like an interesting sci-fi film. So I'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, I just hope that this movie is not trying to be too big, too quickly, and it will
I don't know. You never know.
implode.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
And the final movie that we want to bring up is on September 27th, the movie Never Let Go is scheduled to release, starring Halle Berry. And the synopsis is a family that has been haunted by an evil spirit for years. Their safety and their surroundings come into question when one of the children questions if the evil is real.
Oh no, another horror movie.
Another horror movie, but it seems like there is a resurrection of the genre.
I think it's always been there. It's just, I feel like they do release quite a lot of horror movies. That a lot of them just like kind of, you get forgotten because they're not good.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like we were talking about before, usually it's a smaller budget for a horror film, so it's a bit easier to make. But then it's like, if they get that hit, they'll usually like spun it up again.
Yeah.
Because a bit later in the year, there's Smile 2's coming out again. I'm sure Smile 1 didn't have like a big budget, but did fairly well and was received somewhat well. I thought it was fine, but it'll be interesting to see. Like, that's what I mean. Like, once they find one, like a horror movie that hits, like, time for it to live forever.
And in my personal opinion, I think Jordan Peele has something to do with the resurrection of the genre. When he did like Get Out,
I don't think he has a big say in it because his movie, like, very much horror elements in his films, but they're completely different. I feel like there's a much more going on in those films than more like, this is how we scare you. Like, there's usually a lot of messaging and like themes and things going on. It's not just like big scary monster, boo.
Yeah. But that's the thing, because when like even for me, like when it came to horror movies, I always thought that there would be some sort of zombies, monsters, jump scares. But when I watch Get Out, it's a very psychological horror, and I think it kind of puts some juice back into the genre, and people will be like, oh, this is another route that we can go down for the horror movies. If you look at the horrors that will be coming out in the next 3 months, it has a lot of things to deal with the psychological horror, like with Speak No Evil, you have The Front Room, things like that, so it'll be interesting to see how well the horror movies perform in the next few months.
I think it is like because it's not as complicated to be like, oh, we have to have like a big scary monster or like a ghost or whatever it is. If it's psychological, it's more about, I guess, the person or the character you base it on, right? Or even the family. Like, figuring out why they're struggling with this or dealing with this. It can be a bit more interesting more than like you're haunted by a ghost.
Okay.
Because that has been done 1,000 after Paranormal, which is like, oh God.
Another ghost.
Another ghost.
And then you have Ghostbusters busting in trying to catch that ghost.
Now, that might be a funny movie. We have brought the Ghostbusters in. What can they do?
Didn't they release part 3 with Paul Rudd? Like the Frozen Empire?
No, there's like 4 now.
Oh my God.
So there's the 2 original. They did do the remake before that, but the
Yes.
Frozen one's the second one of the new ones. I did watch the first one. I thought was all right because I do enjoy the original Ghostbuster films.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched the newest one.
No,
I haven't heard it's that good. But
anything else you want to add to it before we wrap up this episode?
should we talk about some of the other movies? Because we were talking about Robert Edgers before, and he's just only saw, I don't know if it was this week or last week where I saw the trailer for Nosferatu, his new film that's coming out.
Yeah.
So that looked interesting. Willem Dafoe was in that film as well. And I was like, oh, here we go. I watched the trailer, looked great.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Like I said, Smile 2. Depends how you feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a few other films, but
I'm pretty sure we can cover them in the next episode.
Yeah, but
when we cover the next few months.
did you want to go into the Superman thing or not really?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a good way
it
to
is
wrap
news
up.
and you know, another topic to jump into if you want.
Well, let's go through it because we were talking about James Gunn taking over the DC universe, and this is like the first project.
Should we give a bit of background as well? So when he initially took over, there were talks with him and Henry Cavill that he might come back as Superman. And the Schneider fans love Henry Cavill as well. They love all of his shit, but you know, they really like. I do think Henry Cavill's a good Superman. So I was like, they had like hope that he's going to come back, right? And there were probably talks for like I don't know a month or so, and it felt like it was going to happen. And then James Gunn said, "Nah, we're not going to do it," which I think it's fair. But all the Snyder fans were like, "Oh." We're already like upset before even knowing who the new Superman was going to be and stuff. So I think that's like a good launching point to where it kind of leads into with like what happens. Because I saw the early like when they released like who's going to play Superman and stuff. I'm like yeah. Like I'm not that cut because are we talking about the very first photo of him like putting on his boots or whatever?
The second photo.
No,
like
but even that one though. The first photo of him like putting on his boot. Even that had backlash, and I'm like.
But why though?
It's literally him putting on a boot. And it's like, no, this isn't right. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Already.
Yeah, already.
Or you haven't seen a damn thing. You haven't even seen if the movie's good. You haven't seen if this guy's a good actor. He's putting on a damn shoe in a photo and you're like, this is the end of Superman. You've ruined him. I'm like, I don't know, Zack Snyder did a good job by himself.
Yeah. And I saw that photo when it came out, and then I kind of
honestly thought it looked good. Like I didn't think it was bad. Too. I didn't think it looked bad.
To be fair, I thought that he was Henry Cavill for a moment.
That's what I mean. Like I thought it looked like a Superman, right?
Yeah. But then when I kept on reading, it seems like the Spider-Verse fans are can be very toxic.
The Snyder fans, yeah. I don't know why. I don't get it. I don't like. I don't think his films are that great. Like I've already said, I don't really like any of them. Really,
he might just be a very nice person in real life.
I don't doubt that if he's not. I'm not saying he's a bad person for making bad films, but I don't know why he's got such this like diehard like fans, which is insane.
Yeah, maybe just from Watchmen.
No, because I do think that's a good film.
It is.
And even 300 has its moments, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, like, there's not many other films that I would say I would enjoy watching.
Yeah.
And I do think all of the DC stuff that he did were either bad or not good.
Maybe during that time, we can argue that the studios, the Warner Brothers, they were trying to push out as many movies as quickly as possible. So he was tasked with a big project.
I wouldn't, like, we don't know the extent to it, but I wouldn't be surprised. But he had a big say over everything in that DC.
Yeah.
Like, he was the head.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't direct he didn't direct every film, but I definitely think he would have had a say. But like you said, like a lot of those photos that came out, and they were already like shitting on him a lot. And it's just like, I've seen some images where people have got like Henry Cavill's Superman like killing the new Superman.
Oh yeah,
I saw that as well. What is wrong with you people? Like, bro, like, are you really that connected to Henry Cavill's Superman that you're like?
And not just that, like in some of the photos, the Superman kill James Gunn as well.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck's wrong with these people, bro? These are like imaginary characters. That are like not even, I don't know. That's why it's insane. That's why I thought it'd be funny to go over, because it's just like the extent that people like, you don't even have to make a good film and people can be obsessed with characters.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like, I do think Henry Cavill's a good Superman, but it's like insane that people go to this length.
Yeah.
Like this never happened with I don't remember any of this happening with any of the Spider-Man stuff.
Probably Batman when Batfleck.
But even I wasn't a fan of Batfleck either.
Yeah.
But I was not like, oh, what have you done to bloody Christian
happened,
Bale?
But the same thing happened when Zack Snyder tried to cast Ben Affleck, and then all the fans were like, oh, why do you cast Ben Affleck? And then they grew to love him. So it's just like a very weird cycle of the fans.
It is.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was a great casting. And I don't think he's like super great as Batman, but I'll also admit he never had a good crack at it.
Yeah.
Like he had like, 2 or 3 films and he's never really, like somewhat of the focus, but not like, he doesn't really get a good chance to be
Fair
Batman.
enough.
But I don't know. Like it's insane, that kind of fan base. But that's what I mean. Like I don't remember it happening with like Spider-Man or other people like being recast. But I guess this is maybe, I don't know. Like it'll be interesting to see because I'm assuming they'll like do new Iron Mans and new Captain America and stuff. Like it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know how they're doing because the Falcon, I don't remember the name of the actor, but I think he's taking over.
Anthony
as
Mackie?
Yeah, he's going to take over as the new Captain America. But
Yeah.
I haven't seen too much about it, but I think this is because this has been more insane, right?
Yeah.
This is like some real...
And I think that kind of scandal died out a little bit, and then another photo came out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
During the production, and this is insane, right? A porn director tweeted about the picture of the guy. So the new actor who's going to play Superman is David Corenswet. And he was in the Superman suit. And this porn director tweeted this picture. He was like, man, when I was doing my movies, the costume that I had was better than this one.
Oh my God.
And I was like, are you a Snyder fan as well?
Probably.
Yeah, but just insane. Like, just let them
crazy.
finish the movie
That's why
first.
I've never gone on Twitter or will use Twitter because it's full of insane people that just say whatever they want.
Yeah, that's crazy. But this is something that we
That's a good ending point.
Yeah, I think so. And we have reached the end of the episode. If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button, click on the subscribe button, and click on the bell to get the notification for the latest episode. I'm Darren.
I'm Tim.
And this has been MovieBeings News.